Hello, everyone. It's the month of love, and so that means it is time for the Love God's Way program. The Love God's Way program this year is brought to you by the Vessels of Honor in collaboration with the Relationship Center and YHub Networks, along with several other partners, including Africa International University. And for this part of the Love God's Way program, we bring you a series of teaching around the subjects of love, relationships, sexuality, marriage, and family, all in the hope of giving you tools to enable you to live a life grounded in biblical principles, along with practical examples of how to apply them. Now, for this episode, we'll be dwelling on the topic of relationships on campus, and I'll be handling that along with my guest, Dr. Elly Ndiao, whom I'll allow to introduce himself. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Emma. My name is Dr. Elly Ndiao. I'm a lecturer at Africa International University, where I also currently serve as a university registrar. And it's really a joy and a pleasure to be here with you and to have a conversation on this very important topic.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. We are glad that you're joining us, not for the first time though. And this has been on for almost 8 years now. How do you feel about the growth and the progress of the Love God's Way program?
Yeah, thank you, Emma. I have been part of this since when it was a very small movement here at AIU, and I have seen it grow and many more people joining and more people attending to where it is today. And I can say that it has been a great blessing to young people, and it has been helping many people to be able to think about these issues from a biblical perspective. And I pray that it will grow from strength to strength, and more people will be reached with this message and be able to benefit from it.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much for that. We hope to see greater days for the Love God's Way program. Now, on to our topic for today. Probably I would begin by asking, you're married. Might your relationship have started in campus, and what was that like?
Yes, I am ready to confess that my relationship began in campus. So my wife, we served together in the main campus, Christian Union, University of Nairobi. And so we got to know each other. We were year mates. We knew each other for a while. And towards the end of our final days in campus, that's when our relationship began. But we had known each other and we had been friends throughout the 4 years we were together. Yeah, and we have been married for, this year is 23 years.
Wow.
And so we knew each other we dated for 3 years. And now we've been married for 23 years, so we have been friends for 26 years.
Amazing.
And it is going on well. We thank God.
Great. It is so nice to hear stories like yours. And in Christian circles, we hear of several stories of marriages that are thriving with a similar line of people who met on campus in the Christian Union and have had marriages that are going strong. But currently, in our world today, in our country, we're seeing a contradictory trend where we are seeing more and more very toxic relationships, where some end up in violence, others people committing suicide. We are seeing people killing their partners even. And then so one wonders, is campus the place to start relationships? And if so, how should it be done? And if not, where is the place then?
Thank you, Emma. The campus environment, of course, has changed over time. But the challenges that we currently face with relationships on campus, including the cases you have cited about violence, people killing each other, mates and stuff like that, there are a number of contributing factors. I think the first one is background. Many young people who are on campus come from homesteads or backgrounds that are, have a lot of challenges. We are coming from broken families, dysfunctional families. And so as they come and as they enter into that space of relationships, already there are issues that they are dealing with that are at play when you come to those relational challenges. And coupled with that is, of course, a lack of role models and mentorship. And a lot of people now find their idea of love and relationships from social media and the environment in which they have grown up and the environment in which they are operating. So that sets up expectations, sets up ways of thinking that when applied sometimes does not work very well. And of course, the whole aspect of the social media environment and the ideologies that young people are engaging with nowadays, they come into it with a lot of things that they have seen, that they have heard, that they have, been exposed to, that maybe the people of the previous generation did not have. So it makes it very challenging, but I believe that it is still possible to get a relationship in campus, date and have gone through courtship in campus, have a good marriage, and then, bring up a godly family. So it is possible. It is challenging, but it is doable. Yeah.
Great. It is encouraging to hear hope.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you cite the reality of backgrounds of brokenness and the effect of sin on lives of people, even on campus. And so would we then say that finding someone in the Christian Union sort of guarantees or gives you makes you stand a better chance at successfully dating and getting into marriage from campus?
Thank you. That's a good question. I would say yes, but not for everyone. It is possible to get a relationship in campus, and many people have gotten a relationship in campus, and some have worked, and others have not worked. And so it is good to appreciate that it is possible to get a relationship in campus, and that there are certain advantages of getting a relationship when you are especially in the Christian Union where I was. But it is not a guarantee. That's the word. Because whether you get in a campus or whether you get in a relationship outside campus, there are more dynamics than just the place where you find someone. There are more that's going on behind the scene. But it is possible, and there are certain advantages. One of the advantages is that in campus, especially if you are staying within campus environment, the advantage of knowing somebody in what I call their natural ecosystem. You are with them in class, you're with them in the dining hall, you are with them in the CU, you go for missions together. You see them when they have failed a cut and how down they can be, when they have passed, how up they can be. And you can visit them in their rooms and see how they are organized or disorganized. So, and at that point, you are all at the same level. Nobody's too rich or too poor. So, it's easier to get someone at that point who you know them for who they are. As you leave campus and you step into the world of work and family and others, you meet people at a different level. And you may not have the chance to meet with them very, very closely, repeatedly, and in a place where you can be able to know someone really well. But that does not mean that you cannot get to know somebody outside campus. It would work. You can meet people in church. After you have finished campus, you can meet people in the workplace. You can meet people in other social groupings, and you can have a relationship. But the campus bit is just that possibility, because you meet probably regularly, you get to know them really well, and you can make a good choice. So that's part of what has made some of those campus relationships really durable, because of the foundation of living together, growing together, serving together, and therefore having a better understanding of each other.
I must say it is very. It then becomes very ideal to start there. And so I would ask on behalf of someone who is thinking, okay, maybe that's the way to go. If someone is considering getting into a relationship in campus, what should be the attitude? When? How? Should I wait for orientation to when first years come in? Should a first year grab the first opportunity when they are asked out so that you redeem the time within campus? Or how should it work?
The issue of when to get a relationship, there is no prescribed timeline or time frames of when somebody should get into a relationship. It can happen at any time in the course of the 3 to 5 years you've been campus. But just an advice, a fatherly advice, is that don't get into it too soon when you are new in the university. like when you're in first year. I hold the view that you need to first of all understand the terrain, understand how campus life and how campus relationships and environment work. Because when we were in campus, we used to have something we used to call gold rush, where the final year students would be waiting for the first year girls, the boys. And within that first semester, when the girls are still naive, so to speak, they are quickly put into the box, the way the young people say. And when they get to learn about this guy, they discover they are the third, fourth girl that this guy has dated in the course of his life. So I think first year is a bit too soon, because you need to settle in campus, get to understand the people, get to understand how the relationship scene works before you get into a committed relationship. And so that is my advice for first years. Just take it easy, get to settle down, and then but as you move on to second year, third year, fourth year, you begin to open up your mind, you begin to see and relate with people. And if God is pushing or urging and nudging a certain way, you can consider. I also discourage people who get relationship towards the very late part of their campus life. Even the boys, they say, I don't want to leave this place without somebody. There is a song I usually say, wanasema sitoki hapa nisikobarikiwa. You know that song? I think it's Isaac Mwaura.
Yes.
It's called Mwa. I don't know the name, but it's sitoki hapa nisikobarikiwa. So that late rush, you are afraid that maybe if you don't get someone here, you will tarmac outside there, so to speak. It's also not good, because then you're not in the right frame to make a decision of that magnitude. But it is possible, and in terms of how to go about it, I would just say 3 things. Number 1, pray about it. Apart from your relationship with God, getting to know Christ person, the next most significant decision in your life is your partner, the person you live with forever. So pray about it, give it some time in terms of praying and considering. Don't be in a hurry to go about. Number 2, socialize. Especially in your early days, we usually used to say, socialize but do not specialize. Just interact with people. Don't be in your own cocoon and you're just around. You need to get to know people, greet, visit, socialize, so that you widen your networks, out of which you form friendships, among which you may choose one out of them. So socialize and get to know people and get to interact with people. And then the third one is to consider the qualities of the person you'd like to live with as your partner, and be very objective about it. Don't just fall in love. I know love is a feeling, but it's more than emotion. Love is more than an emotion. It's more than a feeling. I have a joke that a friend of mine has said, defining love, that love is the feeling you feel when you feel like you're having a feeling you've never felt before. So love is a feeling, but
That's
it's more. So you have to think about what kind of person do you feel? Are you convicted that you should think about as a partner? And 3 things come to my mind. The first one is convictions. You need to think about somebody you share same spiritual convictions. So if you're a Christian, as I hope most of my audience is, then the person needs to be a Christian like you. And that's very important. Number 2, of course, you have to think about the character of the person. You have to, not just how they look, the ladies. It's not enough to get, how do you call it? The one with the 6-pack. 6-pack is good, but character. Character is more important, because in life, the physique of the person will change with time, but the character will get better and deeper with time if you get the right person. And then, of course, the third part is what we call chemistry. Now, that is what we call love, feelings, attraction, all this kind of. It's important to have somebody that you feel you have a connection. The young people would call it, you have a connection, you have a vibe for each other. Muna vibe. So that's important also. But that comes, I think, the third part. So you have convictions, you have character, and then the chemistry. So that's how you process that area.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Great. I think that is really spot on, and can easily cancel a few people you had in mind.
Yeah.
But then I would also ask, in light of the fact that campus is not the place we come to find a partner,
Yeah.
and some people may fear the fact that they may get derailed when they start feeling the feeling that they don't know
They
what
have
they're
never felt
feeling.
before.
Yes. So, is it possible to balance academics and a relationship?
Yeah.
And how do you do that soberly?
Yeah, thank you, Emma. It is possible to balance a relationship with your studies. But you need to be able to, first of all, settle one reality in life. It is captured in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the sun. So there is a time for relationship and there's a time for your studies. And by that I mean you have to give your partner, your friend, time. Because if the relationship is to grow and become, the kind that will eventually lead to a marriage, then you have to invest time into it. But also remember, and I always tell people, and as somebody who is in university, I always tell people, the first reason, the most important reason you're in campus is not to get a mate. You can get a mate anywhere else. Is to study. And so anything that comes between you and your studies, you have to be very careful about it. So I think it is possible, but you have to agree that you will give your studies their time it deserve, and also your spouse or your spice, we used to call it a spice, the time it deserves. So you have to just have a way in which you say, we will get time maybe over the weekend when we have time, so that we can go out for a date or for a cup of coffee. But in the course of the day, you should be able to make sure that you attend to your assignments. Don't miss classes because you are taking your girl outside. And don't use ChatGPT to write an assignment because you spend the whole weekend hanging out somewhere. So attend classes, write your assignments, make sure you have those good discussions. But you can't read all the day. Then there's some time over the weekends, in the evenings, you can make time to be able to get time to grow in your love together. It is possible, but you have to be intentional, you have to be deliberate. Otherwise, the feeling of love can easily get into your mind until the only thing you think about is this girl or this boy. And now your grades begin to suffer because you are not balancing. So it is possible, you just need to be intentional, make sure you give your time for class, and then of course make sure you give time to the lady. Because also if you ignore the lady or the gentleman and you are too busy, you get a first class, but you will not have a partner. Yeah. So you don't have to choose between. You can have both. Yeah.
It's a unique balance.
Yeah.
Lovely. And so I would also ask, for this person who is considering and thinking, I think this is a good person, what are some of the things you take into account as you gauge yourself, as you gauge the time, so that you're better positioned to handle a relationship in campus? Yeah.
So first of all, let us say quite from the onset that not everyone will and should get into a relationship in campus. God can bless you from anywhere. And as we have already said, the advantages of getting in campus, but it is not like anybody who gets into a relationship out of campus is doomed to failure. So first of all, let's do away with the fact that you feel that if you don't get it in campus, then something is gone wrong. No, there's nothing that's gone wrong.
Yeah.
People's timelines and calendars are different. For some, campus is the right time and the right place. For others, they may just feel that this is not the season, and so I will trust God outside there to see that He can bring the right person into my life. So the first thing is that asking yourself, am I ready to get into a relationship? That's the question of timing. And different people are ready at different times. Number two, one thing that has changed a lot in campus is in the earlier years, in the 90s and the 80s, people would leave campus and some people would actually get jobs when they are still in campus. Companies used to recruit in campus, and teachers and the doctors and veterinary medicine people were basically assured of jobs. So if you began a relationship in second, third year, you knew. You date for 2-3 years, both of you have a job, you begin a family. But nowadays people leave campus and you can go without a job for many years, so and a relationship that is spread too long also has challenges. So you have to be practical about it. It's not just being in it for the sake of the vibes and the nice feeling of when February 14th comes, you have somebody around you and you are not the only one who is alone. So that is important. So are you ready as a person?
Yeah.
That's the very important thing. And the second thing we already alluded to it is to part of that preparation is prayer and asking the Lord to guide your steps and to be able to make sure that you are not doing this in your own will, in your own mind, and you are not walking with God in this very significant step in your life. The third thing, of course, is also don't, and the young people don't like this, but I think it's an important thing. Don't walk this journey alone.
Yes.
Yeah, there are people who have gone ahead of you. There are people who have been in this way before. Talk to them. Have a few people, elderly people, married people that you are working with. As you think about what you are feeling and what you are hearing, bouncing on them so that they can give you feedback on the best way to go about it. And as we have talked about socializing, and then you're able to be, sooner or later, a few people will begin to pop up in your dashboard, and you can be able to pray more specifically and say, Lord, are you leading me in this direction or not? Of course, for the sisters, it is like the brothers that are showing up in the picture and are interested. So it's important to keep being very intentional, prayer, reflecting about it, interacting with people, keep bearing in mind the qualities that we talked about, the kind of person that you feel you would make a good partner to. So those are some of the general ways. You can't really be too specific because people are different.
Yes.
And there are no cuts, hard and dry, but there are general ways and principles that can help as you navigate that path.
Lovely. And now, as we draw near to the end, from the perspective of someone who went through a relationship in campus and has done a successful marriage for 23 years, are there things, looking back, you would advise someone who is in a relationship on campus to either avoid or do differently, or things like that, especially in light of the different circumstances in our generation today?
And let me begin by those who are not yet in a relationship.
Okay.
And I would say, number one, don't be in a hurry to get in a relationship. Sometimes your own pressures from within, there are pressures from outside. Everybody is coupling, and everybody is saying stories of how they are having fun. And you can feel alone and almost feel, I need to also be in one. But you are in it just because you don't want to be alone. Someone has said that if you cannot manage being alone and be happy with that status, you are not ready for a relationship. And so that's the first thing. Don't be in a hurry. Our timings are different, as we said, but take your time. That's very, very important. The other thing, of course, is this being a Christian environment, it would be nice to emphasize. The Bible says, do not be unequally yoked with non-believers. Some people think that is being too narrow, too limited. You can pray for the people, you can preach to them, they get saved. But God's wisdom is timeless. There is a reason why it is clear in Scripture that we should focus as children of God on people who share the same beliefs and values as we think about who to get relationship with. So do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers, and make sure that the person you're considering, their testimony, and you can vouch that they are Christians. Third one, and this is very important, is have realistic expectations. In this social media world, the people you see on social media, a good number of them have been touched up and photoshopped and all these wonderful things people use to make themselves more attractive. Have realistic expectations. There are no perfect men. There are no perfect ladies. We are all fallen. And so sometimes our expectation sets us up for failure. We want this guy who is rich or who is very handsome, or lady who is figure 8, Is it figure 8 or 11? You know. So the main thing is have a reasonable expectations. When you get a relationship, the person you get a relationship with may not, you may leave campus and one of you may fail to get a job for a while. And so if it was about money and then you discover you struggle, the moment that delay in a job comes out. So that's very, very important. And I think the other one is about the whole issue of about expectations about life outside college. In campus is a controlled environment. And so you find that when you are there, once you settle and everybody knows you are moving so and so, you are so and so, people leave you. Outside there, you will find more people who are interesting and interested at the same time. And so if you got a relationship just because of the few people that were there and you felt I must get someone here, when you go out, a new world opens up for you. And you may find that if you're not careful, you feel I think I was cheated. I made the decision too early. There are more people who are more interesting out here.
Yes.
So it's good to know that when you leave when you go outside campus, those dynamics of life after campus, issues of job, money, even just getting money to go for a date if you're not working.
Yes.
When you're in campus, your parents are supporting you, you get help, your uncles are helping you, but when you leave, now you are on your own.
Yes.
I still remember when we were dating, after we left campus, we'd go to Guru Park with my wife. We just take njugu. Roasted njugu was what we were taking because we couldn't afford these fancy things. But those were moments of appreciating that this is where we are and God will with time open up. So those who are relating in campus, they should know that there may be some changes when you leave campus. The one person may be placed in Mombasa, another one may go to work in Garissa, and you may even have the reality of a long distance relationship. Thank God for social media, video conferencing, you can always chat, but there will be that change and that shift in the way the relationship works. So the reality of life after campus is different if you dated in campus and now when you date outside campus. So those are some of the things you need to be putting into consideration.
Great. I think that then puts us in a place where you can objectively consider relationships in campus and I believe also afterwards. So at this point, I think I would invite you to give us a parting shot. Any final comments or tips that you could add to our already full basket, as we call it around.
Thank you so much. I want to say 3 things. One is do not be casual about this subject of relationship. It matters. I will say what I said earlier, that outside your relationship to give your life to Christ, the next significant relationship is your mate, your life partner. They will influence you more than anybody else. And so don't be casual about it. Give it the time, the weight, and the prayers it deserves. So that's the first thing. The second one is about keep yourself pure as a young person. And that's a message that is not said loudly enough, but we should say it. Keep yourself pure mentally and also spiritually. And this is happening within the context of a lot of on content that can easily pollute your mind, your expectations. And so purity, the call to purity, even in our generation, God still calls us as young people to live life mentally, physically, spiritually. And then the last one is about working with others. And we are better off in a company of others. Even in terms of the person you decide, let a few people know her and know him. Don't hide him. Let people interact with him. If he has some flaws that needs to be known, this side of the decision is better than the other side. So work with people, visit couples that are married, and look at their lives, observe how they are raising their kids, how they are doing their marriage. There's a lot to learn apart in terms of how to also figure out your own journey as a person. And so my parting shot is that when it comes to doing love, it can be done 3 ways. Number one, you can do it love your way. which means you are basically focusing on your feelings and meeting your needs. It's all about you. You don't think about what others think about it. It's about me and myself. So love my way. But there's also another way of thinking about it, which is love their way. This is basically about following the trends of society and looking at what people are doing out there and trying to go with the crowd, go with the flow. So allowing the society to set your expectations and your decisions and conduct. It's called love their way. But the one I love is the one we are doing. Love God's way. Love God's way is about doing it for the glory of God and doing it in a way that honors God. And it may be a high road to follow. It may be a stricter way, but it is the most productive way. It's the most fulfilling way. It is the most sustainable way in terms of doing love. And so I encourage young people who are watching in campus, do love God's way. Let your foundation be God. Let your choices be driven by your understanding of God, the scriptures and his ways. And let your way, as you move into dating and courtship and marriage, allow God to be the center of your life. And you will never regret if you walk in God's paths. But God is faithful. If we walk with him, he will walk with us, and we will be able to see the fruit of allowing him to be the center of our lives. Let's do love God's way.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you very much, Dr. Elly Ndiao, for those timeless truths and tips that you have given and shared. And it is our hope that these realities and truths and ideologies around love God's way will be able to inform you to better approach the ideas of love. And just like Dr. Elly Ndiao has said, it is not something to be approached casually, because it is the second most important decision you get to make in life. And so we hope that this teaching and the various other teachings that we are going to run in the course of the Love God series will be impactful to you, will be able to influence how you go about it and inform a transformative shift in your life, and you'll be able to testify, like Dr. here, many years down the line of a successful journey down the path of marriage. We would also like to invite you to the Love God's Way dinner, where we'll be culminating this series of teaching, and you can feel free to send in your questions, which we'll be able to channel to our guests to be able to respond to, and we can give that to you in due course. Until the next episode, it's been a pleasure having you on board. I have been your host, Emma Jaber. We hope to see you on the next one. Be blessed.
Thank you. Be blessed.